Hi guys, welcome to Learn Electronics Repair. We have some more car booty today. It was quite a fruitful weekend. I have some computers to look at here. Let's just see how the time goes and we'll see how many we can get to look at, okay? So this is the first one of them. Very dirty, as you can see. I also have my other camera set up for the front view. I don't know if that is helping or not. Let me know, guys. But for now, I'll switch it off. Okay, and we can have a look. So this is the machine. There's no side on it, so I basically know what this is. Okay, let's zoom down and have a look. Okay, so we can see this is a P4S333. The plastic bracket is broken around the CPU socket. There are a couple of cards in here, but no graphics card. So I think, considering this is a bit of a mess really, that's the fan. I'll take this one apart and then let's have a look to see if there's anything usable in this. Well guys, I think I'm onto a bit of a loss with this one anyway. So, as with all of these computers, €15 from this one guy. He tells me, by the way, they're getting harder to find now. I must have had at least 100 machines off this guy, I guess, over some months. I have some on one side to look at, but he says they're getting harder and harder to find. So maybe this won't last forever, but while it lasts, let's enjoy it. Yeah. So it has a LAN card in there and a modem. Okay. And I'm guessing this is a FireWire card. It looks like a FireWire card. So that's what's in there in the way of expansions. They actually don't look so bad when you look at the motherboard. So this is the condition of the motherboard. It wasn't so easy to see inside it, but this looks like some sort of excrement is the best way I can describe it. Okay, a bit of green here. I'm guessing some sort of corrosion from the CMOS battery, which is there, which I suspect is completely discharged. You can have a look across, you'll see what we have, but the worst of it is in this direction. So these capacitors have been smashed off the board. There is an inductor, here's another one that looks like, well, it came out of there. That's the remains of another one. Okay, more capacitors smashed off the board. I'm guessing this is all related to the missing heatsink. This must have been thrown around, I think. Is probably the best I can say that's happened to it. Let's zoom down a little bit. So I think, guys, this one is probably a cross between a donut and a restoration job. Yeah, I mean, look at it. I mean, that is not so bad. I mean, you could probably find some inductors like those off an old board. The capacitors is not so much a problem. This doesn't look good at all. Okay. Let's have a look around it. This also does not look good. Okay. Don't like the look at that green stuff, that's for sure. The sockets. Okay. I think the best thing with this one is probably for me to just go put this in the sink with some soap and water, give it a good scrub, and then we can leave this one to dry. We can look at some other ones, and then when it's dried out, we can see what we have. The other thing with this P4S333, I am not sure this is even of a great value as a retro board, and I think even if I could fix it, it probably isn't really in good enough condition to sell once I finish. Yeah, that's the problem with this one really. We can have a quick look on eBay and just see. Well, I don't see one for sale. How about sold ones? Oh, well, that's a P4B, and mine is definitely a P4S. It's sold, but that was boxed. Okay. and nothing else. So all we can say is one similar sold, but I think there was 2 pieces there actually for that price. I think that was for a pair of them, boxed. Yeah, it was. So half that, and then what condition's this thing in? Yeah, okay, but we can go give it a wash. I'll go clean it up and let's bring it back and have a look. Well guys, it's out of the sink. It's still wet, as you can see, but we can have a look at how well that cleaning actually works. I use effectively hand wash and cold water because I'm using the public toilet bathroom in the shopping centre. There's no running hot water there, only cold water, and there's just hand wash basically. Yeah, give that a little scrub. That bit maybe wants a bit more of a clean, but it looks considerably better. I think we'll have to wait, to be honest, to see how it comes out once it is dried. Okay, this is where some form of excrement or something like that was on the board. That seems to have cleaned off at least. So I'll leave this one to dry and we can have a look later. Even if it is working, all these sockets need replacing. I can possibly find some off a old worthless PCIe board of this era. I actually have one on one side, a board that is working but is like this, which I promised to make a video to show how to replace all these connectors, and I will still do that, by the way. So that's what we have so far with that one, and it ain't looking anywhere near as bad as it was previously. At least that's my opinion. And I think it's anybody's opinion. Here is another one, guys, so again we can just take a look. Yeah, you can see it there. Not in such bad condition as the previous one, at least. Power button seems to be stuck, but yeah, I don't think it's as bad as that other one. Let's have a look inside this one and see. Oh, yeah, bits hanging off. This is broke, by the way. You can see that, yeah. We could always have a quick look at the back first, okay. There we have it. So 4 USBs on board the LAN. Almost certainly going to be a Pentium 4, I think. Let's open it up. In fact, even more so. A good indication is a sticker on here. It says Intel inside Pentium 4. Okay, let's see. I've had quite a lot of machines in this type of case, by the way. Seems like there were a lot of these made at one time on the island. What do we have? Well, we don't have a P4. We have something a bit more interesting. So this is a socket 775, 8IPE775G gigabyte boards. Definitely socket 75. Almost certainly a Pentium 4 like it says, but this is an AGP machine. Yeah, it's not PCIe. Now, when 775 came out, really we had PCIe. AGP was pretty much finished, but there are a few boards out there which have this combination, but not so many. So this is sought after. The reason being, you can make a very fast machine out of this, faster than the socket 478 Pentium 4s. A few of these boards, this one I don't know, supported Core 2. If this supports Core 2, it's definitely a sought after motherboard. Okay, so that's what we have. Let's see if it's actually working. I'll just get the multimeter and we can check for short circuits on the 12 volts. This also supports SATA as well as IDE. It has the twin channel memory, supports hyperthreading. This is effectively a 64-bit machine, whereas the 478s were 32-bit machines, but again with AGP, and that's why again they're sought after. Okay, we have the multimeter there where we can see it. Just make sure it is actually working. Yeah, lead is a little bit loose. Okay, so ground and then onto 12 volts, and that's fine. Yeah, that's fine. That's what you'd expect it to do. So there's no short circuit high side MOSFETs. We can power this up, I think. The CMOS battery is probably dead, but while we're here, let's have a look. Volts. Yeah, like 1.9 volts, that's bad. May as well remove it then. Okay, and put a new one in. Okay, let's see what this does. It's a complete machine with a hard drive, so who knows. We should at least use the current limiter there to see that there's no problems with the power supply, so I'll just switch on. Hopefully that'll flash once we go out. Yeah, that's fine, it did. So we don't have any shorts there. I still can't capture from VGA. I can do just about everything else now with the new setup. Just out of interest, guys, have you seen any difference? Do you like it? Okay. Let's power this up and see what it does. Well, it starts, and it's making a noise, like a continuous blipping noise. Probably a problem with the RAM, but I think at this point I will just take it apart. We'll get the motherboard on the bench and we can investigate it properly. Okay, here's the motherboard. So it all looks nice and clean, nothing obvious a problem with this. I think it probably was just a problem with the RAM. So let's connect a known good power supply to it and have a look. We're ready to go, guys. I've also put the post analyzer card on as well, and you can see the capture card. If we do get a picture out of this, you will see it. Okay, let's see what happens. So, power on, start. And then we get this bleeping. That C1 code is a problem with the RAM. So we'll just take one strip out. In fact, I'll take them both out and I'll just give them a clean actually. That'll be the first thing. These don't look particularly bad. I've just given them a clean with a bit of isopropyl and kitchen roll. Let's see if they now work. Otherwise, maybe we'll try cleaning the sockets. Okay. We can also try with one dim rather than two. Well, let's see what happens. Power on. Start. And it's now booting, so it really was as simple as that, guys. And there we have a picture. Let's connect the hard drive that came with this and see if it will boot into an OS. Here goes. Power on. Start. Well, it's seen both sticks of RAM. Okay. Oh, but it's saying memory runs at single channel. Okay, we can look at that. Let's just F1 to continue. And we have Windows XP. Let's see if we can actually access. At the moment, the USB mouse isn't working. It probably hasn't found it yet. That's not unusual when you get these old machines. Okay, just give it a little while. And now it's found it. Loading the configuration, and there we are. So we are in Windows XP. This machine is working. There's just a couple of things I would like to try with it. So in particular, why is it running in single channel memory even though it's seen the full 1 GB? These are 512 meg strips. Okay, and does the graphics card that came with this actually work as well? The problem with the RAM then, so I have the two strips like so and so in positions DDR1 and DDR3. That's how you would connect them on a modern motherboard, and you would get dual channel. Now, we can see these DIMMs, 512 meg and 512 meg, but the machine did see 1 gig. So it's obviously seeing both DIMMs. My first guess is that they actually go like this in DDR1 and 2. Well, it's still seeing the 1 gig of RAM, but still in single channel mode. That's interesting. I've just checked the user manual to be sure. So these do in fact go the way you would expect. So they need to go in slots 1 and 3 or 2 and 4 in dual channel mode. Okay, so let's see what we get. Power on. I've disconnected the hard drive now, and that is seeing 1 gig in single channel mode. Let's take one of these out. So I'll take this one out. Let's go again. That's seeing 512 in single channel mode. So it is seeing both of them. Let's go into slots 2 and 4. Right. One gig in single channel mode. Is there something in the BIOS? Let's have a look. Well, we can load the defaults, optimized defaults, okay? You'd assume that would be in dual channel mode, yeah? Let's just try that first. So we'll save that. See what it does. Memory runs at single channel, but it sees both DIMMs. That doesn't really make any sense. I'll try some more memory, but I can't imagine for the life of me it's faulty RAM causing this problem. These are 1 gig strips. You can see one there. I have another one. They're not the same, but they're the same brand. Yeah, same voltage, same everything. Let's see. So we'll put 1 strip in first slot. Okay, and we should see 1 gig single channel mode. Well, actually, it doesn't like that one. Let's try again. I'm not sure this is a good one. Nope. Try the other one. Doesn't like that one either. Let's try some other 1 gig strip. Yeah, there's another one. There's another one. 1 gig. Likes that one. 1 gig single channel mode, of course. I have another 1 gig strip, different brand, but let's just try it. So put that one in there. Okay, see what it thinks of this. Well, it's booting. We now have 2 gig in single channel. Okay, now according to the manual, that is the wrong configuration. For dual channel, it should be this one. So that made sense. Let's try it. Okay, 2 gig, it knows it's there. Ah, now it's in dual channel mode. So let me put the original ones back in. I mean, obviously, those two are working as you'd expect. Yeah. Take those out. I'll put these 2 in. I'm not exactly sure these were the original ones. May have got them slightly mixed up. Okay, try it. So these are 512 each. It should see 1 gig. Yes, it sees 1 gig, but they're in single channel mode. Go back to my others. Mismatched pair, yeah. Okay, go. Two gig. Dual channel. So it's not like a bad connection or something. According to the manual, this should actually work in the 2 purpley blue coloured slots. Whatever colour you want to call that. I'm sure it has a name. Okay. Actually, I'll ask my wife. She's best on colours. Julie, can you tell us what colour this is, please? Here's Julie. Okay. This colour.
Purple.
That is purple.
I call that purple.
Yeah, I call it purpley blue. What do you think?
Purple.
Okay, guys. So we try 2 in the purple slots. Thank you, Julie. Never argue with a wife when she says something's a certain colour. I've learnt that one. It's not advisable. Okay. What do we have? Well, it's booting. And dual channel mode. Okay, so there's nothing wrong with this motherboard, with this RAM, it works, but for some reason with the other RAM, it sees them in single channel mode. But it sees them both. Guys, explain that one, okay, please. But at least we can say we have a good motherboard, and thank you, Julie, for the colour recognition. Just one more thing to check on this then, and that is if the graphics card that came with it is good. I can't capture from VGA at the moment. I'm sure I will eventually solve that problem. But for now, let's just do this the old way and see if this graphics card is working. Well, one blip sounded good to me. Yeah, there we go. Dual channel. Okay, guys. So we have to declare the graphics card and the motherboard working. Now I've had a look at this motherboard when I was looking for the user manual. So this does not support Core 2 Duo, Core 2 Quad, which is a little bit of a shame. If it did, it would be considerably more valuable on the retro scene. But it's still an LJ775 that supports Pentium 4. So let's have a look on eBay to see what value we actually have here for our €15 of layout. Well, the graphics card is an FX5200, which is a very common AGP graphics card. In fact, it says FX5200 Ultra Gamer even. We could try that also, so FX5200. And you can see these are very cheap, these are very run-of-the-mill AGP cards. We can put the Ultra Gamer on and see if Ultra Gamer makes it any more desirable. It's that one. Oh, well, maybe then it's now worth more because I put Ultra Gamer on the end of it, even though none of these have come up with Ultra Gamer. Okay, what does the sold listings tell us? Well, it tells us it's not worth a lot, which is what I thought originally, so I don't think that has any value. The motherboard, I think, probably does have some. Let's see. Well, there we go. These results are not the same thing. It didn't find it, so there are none in the sold listings. Are there any available for sale? One, and they're asking £254 for it. And another one, I think that's more like it. I think that is being over ambitious, but the only other one I can see for sale, 105 or best offer. I think this probably is worth somewhere between 50 and 100, maybe middle of that. I know a lot of you guys have some very good experience with this sort of hardware, so you have a good idea of what it's worth. With none in the sold listing, it's hard to say, but compared with the €15 I paid for it, I think you've got to say that is a good deal. Let's have another look now at the one which we put into the sink yesterday. Here is our motherboard again after its little trip to the sink. So you can see we removed a lot of the dirt from it. But I wouldn't exactly say we removed the corrosion from it. Especially, and this is isopropyl I'm using by the way at the moment, especially over this end, this is where it was kind of green. And we obviously still have some serious problems in this area. Okay, these. Yeah. This seems to be the worst area, I will say. We'll just let that dry where I've just scrubbed it up. I'll give it a little bit more. It'll be dry when we come back round to it, I'm sure. Okay, that's that bit. So, the rest of it. Well, this is where we had the excrement on the board here. Okay, this area. That has come quite clean, I will say. Yeah. Okay. That does look a lot better than it did before. But I think we can see inside this slot, this is all horrible. That's the AGP slot. It looks really corroded in there. I did get some soap and water in, maybe not at this end of it. Yeah. Okay. Well, it's not okay, but okay. Yeah. Obviously, we have this damage. This area is now quite clean. So that could be fixed. That isn't a problem. I'm much more concerned about the mess in that AGP slot. Actually, the RAM slots don't look too bad. But having said that, yeah, I mean, we can see the problems in here as well. Okay. I don't think that's really helped. You can still see they're corroded. And we seem to have some more in this general area actually. Here, yeah. So this one, guys, I think we should just use this as a challenge to see, is it possible to get this corrosion off the board by using various methods? And by various methods, I mean what you guys think, yeah? So comments below. We'll keep this one on one side and we can try various things on it to see whether it is actually possible to resurrect this thing. Okay, man, let's look at the next one. Well, guys, just before we look at the next one, my friend Detlef and Men came in and we have another little job to do together. But before we start, I'm going to ask Det the $6 million question. What colour is that?
Lila.
Lilac.
something, yeah.
Okay, fine. Now, guys, you'll know from this that Det dares to disagree with my wife, whereas I don't. Oh, so man. As far as I'm concerned, it is still purple. And here, guys, is another one. So another retro-looking machine. Okay. We can look at the other side of it. So this one again has 4 USBs, parallel ports on it. It's probably a fairly old machine. There are no blanking plates here and I'm looking inside. I think this may be actually a PCIe machine. Let's have a look to see what we have here. So possibly not the sort of thing I would normally want to buy. I was probably just distracted by the fact this is a beige case. Let me have a look. Yeah, it's a PCIe machine. Okay. G41M. This is going to be 775, I think. I'm not sure. It has IDE and SATA, so it probably is. the socket 775. Okay, I can always look this up. So this is MSI G41MP28 and see what we have. Yes, it's a socket 775, so probably not the sort of thing I would normally want to buy, but this came in a batch of machines, all the same price, and this is what we have. I was probably fooled somewhat by the style of the case to think this is an old machine. Well, I think I may as well take the motherboard out of this and we can have a look to see what we have on the bench. Here we have it then. I don't know if you can tell actually, since the previous part of this video, my friend Detlef and Men came round. We were working on the video which I published yesterday. And during that time, he helped me with the lighting setup. It was Det who actually gave me the camera that I'm using now as the overhead one. Somebody asked me about the setup I have now, so I'll show you guys. It's very much lashed together at the moment, waiting some parts, but I can show you what I have. You'll see now I've moved the andon starter here. I don't need such a powerful magnification above the bench anymore because I have this, okay? Now, the strange thing with this camera, it requires a imperial size bolt, 3/8, to mount it onto the actual mount, and I cannot find anywhere on the island anything but metric bolts, yeah? You'll also notice the black tape across the overhead lighting. That's to cut down the reflections. Detlef just expertly installed that for me, and I hope you can tell the quality is a bit better now, a bit less reflection. Okay, you can see this is actually on its tripod. How can I show you? Yeah, balanced in mid-air and held on effectively with cable ties. I have to have it attached to the tripod because that's the only thing I can find that actually screws into it. I actually want to mount it directly off the overhead metal bar. And I will, once I sort that out. Once we put the tape on the light, I didn't have enough overhead lighting, so you can see in the corner there, that's actually a flat panel light lying on its back, reflecting off the inside of the shelving, which is white, which is giving me a good amount of light. Yeah, I think you could say that actually works. And the other thing I've actually done now is got hold of this unit. So this is my new capture card system, this NavSecond, okay, 4 inputs, HDMI, and next to it is the other one I use for video capture of these old retro machines, and this lets me do some fairly clever things. This monitor is actually monitoring the output from the 4-way HDMI, and you can see it there actually on OBS. The camera, somebody asked me, so this is a Sony Handycam HDR AX2000, and Detlef gave this to me as he doesn't have any use for it really now, so that's what I have. And I'll just show you this 4-way setup I have. A handy little remote it comes with, so I can actually select the main background image. That's from the andon star microscope over there, okay. I can select the image from the other microscope, other side of my bench. That's this one, okay, or I can select from the andon star, so I can have either of those or the overhead camera as the background to the video now, okay. And I also have another computer which I can now use as well as the background rather than using video capture on the one that I have been using, the one I'm recording on. So tuck behind here, you can see it there. That's the one I built from parts taken from the car boot sale. Okay, 7th generation i5, 16 gig of RAM, SSD, and it's working fine. So that's basically the setup I have. Now, because I have the camera above me, the Sony, I don't need this one, the ELP. That's the one with the 5 to 50mm zoom lens on, okay. So I can select now using my remote, and you're watching the recording that I'm making directly, so I can have the overhead camera, I can have the andon star microscope, I can have the optical microscope, or I can have the output from the other computer if I want to capture, for example, when I'm on the internet looking up prices on eBay and such like, I also have down the right hand side, as you are seeing now, I can have the side camera, the instrument camera, the face camera. So I can put myself on, I can put instruments on. This is the one I would normally point at my multimeter. I can switch on the side view camera now, so this is looking directly across my bench. You can see one of my bench power supplies there, right across the bench. And lastly, I can switch on the capture card. This is the one I use to monitor the output of these old PCs, which I'm working on. I'm trying to get them working. And I can resize any of these windows anywhere I want. So we have a very flexible setup, guys, now. I think I can do just about anything I want with this. One thing more I need to do, and that is to replace this camera, the face camera, with the Logitech Brio Ultra HD 4K camera I have. And then I think I will have completed all the modifications at the moment, and we'll see how it goes. I mean, maybe this will be the final setup, maybe not. We'll see how we go along. Anyway, I was asked about that, so there you are, guys. Now let's have a look at this motherboard. The usual then, guys. So I have the multimeter on ohms. We'll have a look at the 12-volt rail. It's good. You know, I've never actually found one, I think, yet that was short since I've been making these videos. I did previous to that, so maybe one day, who knows. But we can power this up. I have my known good power supply. Another known good, by the way. This is the 24-pin one. We can put the post analyzer there where we can see it as well. Okay, and now let's see what this thing wants to do. Power on. And where's the on-off switch? Haha. Probably I was a little bit premature there, guys. I wasn't as ready as I thought. So we need to put the jumpers on. This looks like the on-off position. I'm not sure where the speaker goes. Yeah, it has a JFP1 and JFP2. I'm going to take a guess. There. See if that's right. So power on. And it starts. So the on-off switch was in the right place. And this is booting, okay? You can see it's booting. Let's stick a graphics card in, connect the capture card, and we should see what this is doing. Okay, hard drive attached, keyboard and mouse attached. Power on again. Capture card a bit bigger now so you can see it. There we go. So that's the motherboard. What does this hard drive do? Oh, it's obviously had Windows on it before, loaded, but not shut down properly, or it's crashing. So Windows 7, I think. The machine has 2 gig of RAM. I don't expect it to run particularly well, but we can see if at least it does run. Well, in fact, it is loading. Obviously, we don't have the graphics card drivers on here, so it's not giving exactly a good display, but we can see this machine is working, basically. Saying to restart now. I'm going to say nah. Okay, guys, so I think we can actually declare this one as working. Unfortunately then, this retro machine is not retro at all. It just looked like it would be from the case it was in. Basically looked like an old machine. I'm guessing it probably was, and at some point it's been upgraded, and now we have this. So it works, but socket 775 like this, not really of any value. One thing that is useful from it, to me at least, is the 500 gig hard drive. I mean, it's not huge, but this is big enough to hold quite a lot of YouTube videos, and I like to keep 2 backups of all the videos. So I just fill them up, and then when they fall, I just mark on them like videos from 100 to whatever, and just stick them in the box on one side, not attached to a PC, and then hopefully they will stay safe. The other outside chance there could be some value in this, if it has like a very fast Core 2 Quad Extreme or something silly in it. Something that you wouldn't expect. So let's have a look. Okay, let's do it together. So what do we have? Well, a lot of dust and dirt. Typical Gran Canaria PC full of Colima dust, of course. And we have a well, it's like a Pentium D or something. It's not even a Core 2 anything, okay? So, nope, that was also drawn a blank. Okay, well, this happens sometimes. €15. Not going to get anything back, I don't think, from this one. We can have a look, by the way, but I don't think so. And there we see. So there are complete machines being offered for like £20 with the processor, with the RAM, yeah, with the I/O shield. Let's have a look in the advanced. Sold. Okay. And that's what they sell for. But, you know, it really isn't worth it to me for what it's worth. With one there sold for less than £10, less than £10. So these things are like nothing really. We could wonder if these will ever become retro collectibles, yeah? I mean, personally, I'm of the opinion that Socket 775 will become retro collectible, but not motherboards like this. The ones that are going to be collectible, and even to some extent already are the high-end boards, effectively like the high-end gaming boards, probably the last ones made of that era before we moved on to the i3, i5 and i7 and such like. Those boards, 775, are going to be valuable. And as I say, to a good extent, they already are. Same applies to Socket 775 plus AGP, as I showed you earlier. And even rarer, and I do have one, which is 775 plus PCIe and AGP. Now that is a true collectible. That's this one, and it is working. I've recapped it. Okay, so this is working, as I said, 775 plus AGP plus PCIe. And this will take Core 2 Quad Extreme, which I have the processor. This isn't it. This is what I used to test, but this will take the Core 2 Quad Extreme, and this is a collectible now. But these are rare. That's the reason why. So the run-of-the-mill 775s, yeah, stick them in the shed for 20 or 30 years. But whether you will then find they are of any value, I guess will depend in particular on two factors. One, how many people save them, so how many are left, i.e. supply, and how many collectors now want them, i.e. demand. But that is true of all collecting markets. Well guys, I think we have time for at least one more on this video. So here we have another one. Again, this is an old style case. We can have a look from the side. There you see it guys, little ATX machine, okay. Let's have a look at the back of this one. So we have two USBs on this, and generally the lower the number of the USBs, the older the machine. It has a parallel port as well, a graphics card of some sort in there. And then something at the bottom looks like a LAN card. This is obviously bent, it's had some sort of impact at some point or other. Let's have a look inside this one and see what we have. I know I like to play the guessing game, so I'm going to say another Pentium 2. Well, it could be a P4. Well, as they say. I'm going to say it's an early P4. Let's have a look. Okay. It's sort of a bit bent again. This has been subject to some heavy handling at some point. And I'm just peeking inside it. And it's not a P4, okay, it's not a P4. And hiding under here is an ISA slot. Okay, so we have another ISA machine with AGP. The graphics card is a kind of half in, half out sort of angle. It's a QDI motherboard again. Not sure if this is a socket PJ370 or if it's an AMD machine. I can kind of see down there, but I can't see very clearly down there. So let's take this one apart. Let's get it on the bench and let's have a look to see what we've got. Here is the motherboard then. So this is a PJ370. I'm sure it says Intel on this, so it's Intel. the memory has kind of jumped out of the slot. As you can see, this machine looked like it had been subject to some amount of shock. So we'll take all these out first of all. And I think we'll just try to boot the motherboard with the processor, no RAM, put the PCI analyzer card in, and let's see what it does. And we are ready to try with my newly repaired 20-pin ATX power supply. Okay, so power on, start. It should bleep now. Well, it's not bleeping. It's possible I have the speaker. Yeah, I put the speaker on the wrong connection. Actually, it goes on the back row here. Okay, try again. Power on. Well, not bleeping, but this code C1 is a RAM problem. And of course, there is no RAM fitted, so that's what we would expect. I'll just try my other little speaker. In fact, I have several of these, not just another one. I have quite a few. Again. Okay, doesn't bleep, but does give the error code. Let's try some RAM in this. A little bit dusty, but we'll just try it first. Should do with just one. Okay. Ah, okay. Well, something happens. Apart from the fact I have no bleeping coming out of it, it does appear to be working. Actually, I think I've resolved the bleeping issue. It looks like it's not from the end pin, but from the next one in. Let's see. So it does bleep. Okay, let's get the graphics card. We are ready to go then. Let's see. One bleep. And we have the QDI medal. Okay. So this looks like another good one. I'll actually just try the other RAM just to see if all the RAM slots are working. We can make this a little bit bigger. Okay, so we can see we have 128k of RAM at the moment. Put the other one in, or the other two in. This is another 128 meg, it says on the strip. That one it doesn't like. Let's try another one in this same slot. I'll just move this way, you can see what I'm doing. Okay, there we go. So it didn't like that one in this slot. I'm going to put another one in this slot. Okay, what does it think of this? Yep, it's booty, so the slot's okay. And we're now seeing 128 meg. I'll give these slots a clean. In fact, actually, no, I won't. I'll test all the RAM initially in the first slot. So we know that one's good. Next one. Doesn't seem to like it. The next one, same size, 128. Okay. Doesn't seem to like it, so it seems like only the first one is actually working. Let's just put it back in again, just to make sure this just wasn't chance. Okay, it's in. Yeah, it's booting. Okay, so this one's working. These two are not. Let's just give the contacts a clean first and see if that persuades them to work. Okay guys, I've inserted all the RAM back in now. I've cleaned them. Let's see if this makes any difference. Well, it's booting. Yes, and we have 512 meg now. I can see marked on the memory, the last one is a 256 and these are 128 each. So that gives us 512. That's correct. It's seeing all three of them. So that we know is good. Let's attach a keyboard, mouse. We can just load the BIOS defaults and see whether we can boot from the hard drive that came with this machine. Ready to go. Start. See if we can get into the BIOS. Yes, we're in the BIOS. CPU. Some sort of overclocking thing, maybe. Let's load the optimized defaults. Yes. Okay. And we will save and exit and see whether or not this will boot. I don't hear any sound from the hard drive actually. It's either not spinning or it's very quiet for an IDE drive. Well, it's found it by the looks of it. It knows it's there. Yeah, 40 gig hard drive. But I don't think it's going to boot from it. I can't hear any sound coming from the hard drive. Nothing. So it will hang here. But we can say with a good degree of confidence we do have another good working motherboard. The CPU clock we can just see at the top, 950 megahertz. So that's what the processor seems to be. That is really quite fast for a Pentium 3. Is this going to say no boot device, I think? Oh no, it is working. Oh, I still can't hear it, but it's working. Okay. So this one is working. It hasn't found the USB mouse yet. It probably will shortly if I give it a little bit of time. Yeah, and it did find the mouse also. We can shut this down. So we have a nice working Pentium 3, okay? We can have a quick check to see if the graphics card that came with it is working. This is you can see it, S3 Trio, 3D2X, yeah, S3 Trio, 3D2X. We can give that a quick try. We'll do that right now. I can't capture from the VGA, but I can just use my other monitor and the old-fashioned method, which is basically to point this at the screen. Okay, that one. Let's see what it does. On, start. Yep, looks and sounds promising. And yes, it is working. Okay, so we have one good working motherboard, one good working graphics card. I have a strong suspicion I will probably keep this machine. I don't have a Pentium 3 in my collection of various retro rigs. I think a P3 is probably a nice addition to the rest. And being a QDI board, I think this is a very nice one to have. Let's have a look to see what eBay thinks. Just before I do check how much this is worth, let's check to see if this is a 950 megahertz processor. It may not be set right. Well, let's see what do we have. In fact, yes, it's a 950 megahertz, so that's exactly what we have. Okay, that's quite a reasonably good P3. I think I may actually have a faster one somewhere here. In fact, actually no, it says this is a Celeron. Okay, SL5V2. So we can look at that as well. Actually, I think I'll just check that first while I remember it. So it's an SL5V2. Okay, see what it tells us about it. Well, not a lot there, so let's try Celeron. 950 megahertz. Yeah, so that isn't of any value. I'm pretty sure I do have a faster processor that this may take, actually. Let's look at the motherboard. And yes, they are selling for quite a nice price. These are actually sold listings, not what people are asking for, but what they've actually sold for. 2 have sold not so long ago. Well, 1 in February. Yeah, 1 sold in actual fact 4 days ago with the processor. So we definitely have a nice motherboard here. Whether I sell it or not, I'm not sure. I actually have 2 of these advanced 10T motherboards, so I only need 1, that is for sure. So without that, 1 of them will be sold. If somebody wants to make me an offer, yeah, you can see what they're fetching basically. Okay, even, you know, this price, that's fine, that's fine. Lastly then, let's look at this graphics card. I don't think the S3 Trio has any value as such. Yeah, nothing really, so I'll include that with the motherboard if somebody wants one of these motherboards. Okay, and there we have it, guys, really. So nothing much to fix, but some nice retro hardware to look at. Hope you enjoyed that anyway. I have quite a lot more of this stuff, so we'll do this again soon. In the meantime, I have a couple of other repair jobs, so next video let's do something a little bit different. Okay, hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you all soon on another Learning Electronics Repair video. Ciao for now, guys.